Hello and welcome to another episode of Guess That Record. I am your host, Jackson Reed. This is the show where we talk about music and try to figure out which album I pulled from my collection. Thanks again to you, the listeners, for being here once again for another episode. We have an awesome guest today. She's a Canadian actress and musician, best known for her roles on TV shows like Law and Order and Crossing Jordan. As a musician, she's released 2 studio albums and performed at major events like Lilith Fair. Her newest show is called Hope Valley 1874, which is airing on Hallmark Plus. I'm super excited to welcome Jill Hennessy to Guess That Record. How are you doing, Jill?
Doing very well. It's a hot summer day in New York City right now. It's like 90 degrees.
Well, it's funny you say that because I am in Calgary. And
Wow.
it is a blizzard today. Like it is just dumping snow right now. So
No, you're kidding me.
no, it is like
Really?
Mm-hmm. That's springtime out here. Like earlier in the week, it was like 15 Celsius. I was out on my bike, and then
Okay,
today
yeah.
it is dumping snow. So it can get random at this time of year. But that's nice that New
Yeah.
York is hot. So that's good.
That's good. It's going to 50 Fahrenheit on Monday. So it's here, it's kind of up and down here too, but we're not in the middle of a blizzard like Calgary. So
Yeah.
kind of thankful for that.
Yeah, and it's it's so cool to have you on the show. Just because it's been cool to check out your career and everything like that. It was funny. When I was looking up stuff about you, I saw quite a few clips of you on the Conan O'Brien show back in the day,
Oh my
and
gosh.
I was like, wow, I get to interview someone that interviewed Conan. That's awesome.
Conan is one of the nicest talk show hosts, comedians, artists you will ever meet. Even between during all the commercial segments too, he would just lean over and start talking to me, and just with such warmth and generosity, and just genuinely innately funny. One of the smartest people too, I've
Yeah,
met.
yeah.
It's great.
And another thing that was really cool to like learn about you is the fact that you are a fellow Albertan as well, because you were
Yeah.
born in Edmonton. So
Uh-huh.
yeah,
Born in Edmonton, Alberta. I think we were moved because I have twin sisters. So we moved 3 months after we were born. So I never really lived there, but my memories of Edmonton are of going to visit my grandmother and my grandpa in Edmonton. I think we visited them twice. Once when I was like 5, and then another time when we were, I think, oh gosh, 9. So I remember my grandma making pierogies at 5 in the morning. I remember my grandpa in the backyard at the picnic table drinking beer at 6 a.m. and chewing on raw garlic cloves. So those are my memories of Edmonton.
nice. Yeah. And 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 so you then moved to Kitchener. Is that correct?
No, we lived in 9 different cities across Canada. Kitchener was the second last town that I lived in.
Gotcha.
So we moved there when we were, oh my goodness, I guess we were 11, because we had previously lived in White Rock, British Columbia, and we had lived in Calgary, where you are.
Mm,
Um, and yeah, then it was then Kitchener Waterloo, and then I left home at 17, moved to Toronto, and I was there for 3 years and started busking, playing music on the street at Yonge and Bloor. And it was playing guitar on the street that basically got me the job on a Broadway show. Basically, was going to the Royal Alex Theater in Toronto, then San Francisco, and then straight to Broadway. It was about Buddy Holly, called the
right.
Buddy Holly Story. So
Yeah. Well, I wanted to mention
yeah.
Kitchener because this podcast, we get it syndicated on a few radio stations, and one of them is CKMS in Kitchener. So,
Oh, nice.
yeah,
Oh, well, shout out to Kitchener.
yeah, exactly. Um,
Nice.
and yeah, and it was also, it was interesting. So, when you were out there in Toronto, like busking,
Mhm.
is that really kind of your first experience doing anything like music, acting, anything in particular?
That was when I was going back to Kitchener, actually. If I really go back to when I was 12, I had the fortune of having a substitute teacher in my English class named Mrs. King. And she approached me after class and said she liked my voice and was wondering if I would sing with her. She ran a singing school and acting school. And she'd give me free lessons if I helped her clean her studio and teach younger students. So that was my big kind of start in a way,
Hmm.
was with Mrs. King. And then I went to Toronto hoping to study acting. And before I could even go to classes, I started playing guitar in the street. So that was sort of financing my acting education. So with that money, I paid my rent. I would take scene study classes. I went to Second City in Toronto, studied with some great people. I did improv comedy dinner theater for a while with some of the students from Second City. And then it was just happened to get this. I was helping a friend out with this audition for the Buddy Holly story because he knew I played guitar and I liked Buddy Holly. So I played guitar for him for Brown Eyed Girl by Van Morrison, sang the harmonies, and I ended up getting a part in the show. So that's why to be honest, why I'm here in New York City right now.
Yeah. This episode of Guess That Record is sponsored by Marvel Marketing. Marvel Marketing is an award-winning digital marketing company headquartered in Calgary, Alberta, Canada. Working with clients in different industries from all over North America, including Canada, the United States, and Mexico. Marvel Marketing services include website design and development, website maintenance, search engine optimization, public relations services, and social media management, amongst others. To find out more, visit marvelmarketing.ca. This episode of Guess That Record is sponsored by GuitarWorks. One of Canada's top independent music stores for over 30 years, GuitarWorks carries a huge selection of musical instruments from the biggest brands in music, including Gibson, Fender, Martin, Yamaha, and Paul Reed Smith. Visit any of their 2 Calgary locations or shop online at guitarworks.ca and join the Guitar Perks program to earn money back with every purchase. GuitarWorks, your total guitar store. This episode of Guess That Record is also sponsored by Recordland, home to the largest selection of music in Canada. Buy, sell, and trade tapes, CDs, and vinyl. Located in Calgary's Inglewood neighborhood on 9th Avenue Southeast, visit them in person or on Instagram at Recordland Calgary. Yeah. And it was, it was interesting to kind of look through your filmography. And there was like, of all your past roles, there was one that I really wanted to ask you about, and that is Robocop 3. Because I'm a fan of that series, and I have a good friend who's also a fan, and we quote lines from RoboCop to each other all the time. So, how did you get involved in that?
I got an audition. I was here in New York and auditioned for it and ended up getting the part. It was one of the first auditions I had here in New York City.
Mm-hmm.
So I just finished Buddy Holly. I think it was the first. Yeah, it was definitely one of the very first auditions I had once I arrived here in New York City.
Yeah. Awesome. And do you have any memories of working on the film as well, or?
Yes, because some of my favorite actors were involved in that, and like you, I was a huge fan of RoboCop 1. And I'd heard that CCH Pounder was going to be in this. I don't know if you know CCH. She's tremendous. She was in the series The Shield. Stephen Root, who was in Barry, the Bill Hader series, which I love. He was in this too. So I was surrounded by some of my favorite actors. Robert Burke is a tremendous actor. I see him in New York all the time. So my memories are and Remy Ryan, I just loved because I had most of my scenes are with her, and she was a little kid, and we were just hanging out in Atlanta, Georgia, going out for barbecue, checking out the museums. I was playing guitar. Literally, I bring my guitar out to set or on the street, and just hanging out in Atlanta, Georgia. So that was kind of a joy.
Mm-hmm.
And meeting Rip Torn. Rip Torn was very cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. It is an interesting series of films because, of course, it's like, it's supposed to be set in the far future of 2015, and yet everyone still uses VHS tapes and big desktop computers. Yeah. So, yeah, it's funny they're entertaining movies, though. That's for sure.
Yeah, exactly, man. To look
Hmm.
back on our perception of what futuristic was.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, it's pretty amazing.
Hmm. And to kind of move into the present day with your
Mhm.
current acting, you of course have the new show Hope Valley 1874 that's out now on
Yes.
Hallmark.
Yeah.
And yeah, it'd be great to share with the listeners what the premise of this show is.
Okay, so Hope Valley 1874, all shot in Langley, British Columbia. Canadian production, I must say.
Hmm.
But it's really well done, man. It's set in 1874, a little frontier community north of the American border, so in Canada, the Western frontier, and it's a community that basically consists of two buildings: the Trading Post, which my character runs, and a dilapidated boarding house. So previously, just based on boy, I guess First Nation trading routes and French settlers, and now it's just other immigrants coming in, people prospecting for gold. And the show is basically, it centers around Joy Lenz's character who comes in from the States in 4 months, took a 4 month trip in a covered wagon with her little girl who's 12 years old. And basically she's got a couple secrets in her background. She meets this great rancher played by Benjamin Ayres, who's Toronto. Actually, I think he's originally from Kamloops.
Mm.
And wonderful, wonderful guy, great actor. Um, so you've got all the romantic aspects of the Hallmark universe, but they're sort of expanding the universe a little bit. It's a little more gritty, a little more authentic. The cinematography is tremendously well done. Our DP is phenomenally came off of a Netflix show called Virgin River, and did a beautiful job. And Alfonso Moreno did a great job with the scripts. It's when I was talking to my sister, and she said she watched the last episode, and she and her daughter were crying because there's a couple scenes I have. I have a daughter who's kind of marrying age, and there are two guys kind of giving her the eye in the community, and so my character's sort of facing the prospect of her life without her daughter, who's her only family member, the only person she's close to. So there's a couple pretty emotional scenes, and I didn't think this series would be this emotional, to be honest, man. Sometimes we're doing scenes, and you find yourself just choking up a little bit, and it's just nice when that happens, and you're just relaxed enough and having a good time and letting moments kind of happen. And the crew is so lovely, and we just became a very tight family very quickly.
Hmm.
Uh,
Yeah, I will admit that like I'm not extremely well versed in the Hallmark cinematic universe, but I thought it was interesting to sort of see that like they are kind of branching out from more
mhm.
than just big city girl moves to a small town and falls in love.
Yeah,
Um, yeah,
exactly. And that's
yeah.
why what I really appreciated about the script too. I wasn't sure what this was at first. And I did take a look at the script and I thought, okay, this is a horse of a different color here. Let's check it out. And since then, I've been meeting so many people who are intimately familiar with the Hallmark universe, who've been sort of giving me an education. Um, and it's actually been a really positive, kind of joyous experience. And then just to be able to work in Vancouver for 3 months was such a joy. I mean, meanwhile, back in New York City, we had major blizzards, man. We had like the worst storm we've gotten in 150 years.
Yeah.
And I missed it because I was in Vancouver working, and I go on long runs in Stanley Park and watching the sunset. So I was having a good time.
Yeah, for sure. And had you ever had the chance to work on sort of like a period piece like this before, or was this your first time doing something like this?
Yeah, a year before I worked on a piece with Mandy Patinkin and Janet McTeer in Connecticut called The Artist, for a new network called The Network. And that was set in that was 1912. And I played Evelyn Nesbit's mother. And Evelyn Nesbit was the big it girl of the century, and she was involved in a huge scandal um, with Stanford White, who shot her husband. in the old Madison Square Garden. It's a long story, but so that was 1912, 1874, and I did another, actually a TV movie for CBC called Sunshine Sketches of a Small Town, which was such a joy, and that was shot all in Southern Ontario. And that was, oh my goodness, that was turn of the century. So I think that was 1905.
Right.
But I love the period stuff, man. It's fascinating. It's an excuse for me to, educate myself and learn more about history, about Canadian history, American history. What people were dealing with at the time.
Yeah, it's because I actually do a little bit of acting on the side, more
Oh, nice.
voiceover,
Yeah.
more voiceover, but I have done some live action work because, of course, Calgary's a fairly popular filming
Oh,
destination,
yeah.
actually. And
Hmm.
I've only been able to do one period piece, and I think it was like 1930s, but it was still like, you know, having to wear like a wool shirt and
Oh, no.
suspenders,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
clothes I would never wear normally. It's kind of, it almost helps you get into character a little more when it
A
is like
hundred percent.
the old timey costumes and everything. Yeah.
Yeah, the wardrobe is like 80% of the character sometimes, right? And
Hmm.
was it in the summertime that you were wearing a wool shirt and suspenders?
Yes, yes, and
Oh,
so
okay. So that's a challenge.
the funny thing is, so long story short, this production, it was like a short film, and
Mhm.
it was about like it was a 6-part series about the history of Alberta, and this particular part
Okay.
was an oil company buying a farm for to drill oil, and the farmer
Okay.
and his son are like having this meeting with the oil company, and I was originally one of the company men, um,
Okay.
and it was the farmer, and he had like a 11-year-old son, but it was middle of August and extremely hot, and we
Oh,
were in a building in downtown Calgary with like no AC or anything like that, and we were
oh boy.
standing in for the first shot, and the kid, unfortunately, he passed out from the heat
Oh,
just standing
no.
there. So
Okay.
he had to get sent home, and then the crew was kind of freaking out, like, what are we gonna do? And the director comes to me and says, "Hey, you look young enough. Can you play the son?" And I was like, "Sure." So,
So you were playing a 12-year-old in this?
well, they aged it up. I was probably
Oh,
supposed to
okay,
be
good, good.
more look more like a teenager at that point, but
Okay.
yeah,
Wow.
it
So you got range. That's
yeah,
impressive.
yeah. So that yeah, it can be hot, that those clothes from
Yeah.
back then, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, try wearing a corset and petticoats. That's interesting. Although in our case, we were shooting in the winter. We started, gosh, mid-December and finished March 15th. So we had hail, we had snow, we had rain, sleet. We did have some sunshine too. And one day it hit, I would say, oh gosh, maybe 15 degrees Celsius. But yeah, it puts you in character. But I was given thanks for the petticoats though on those freezing days, like -0, where you're outside and you can't really hide a lot of thermals under your dresses.
Hmm.
So it was intense. It was intense.
Yeah,
But we were,
well, I was gonna say,
yeah,
yeah, it looked like, a little colder just from the footage that was
yeah.
shot. So yeah, that all checks out for sure. Um, and now would love to talk with you about your music, of course.
Oh,
So your first album was Ghost in My Head, which came out in
correct. Yeah.
2009. Um,
Mhm.
I was just kind of curious, like, did acting kind of get in the way of you being able to release a record?
I don't know if it was that it got in the way. It certainly delayed a lot of things. Although a lot of the songs I wrote for Ghost in My Head, some of them were written while I was on Crossing Jordan. Um, and then I ended up doing a film called Wild Hogs. Oh boy, yeah, John Travolta, William H. Macy, and Martin Lawrence. And one of the songs I wrote while I was there too. I've always sort of incorporated the music with the acting wherever I am, because the music is sort of my therapy. I bring my guitar with me wherever I go. Um, and also I try the material out on the crew. And I inevitably hang out with the crew on every production I'm on, and some of the actors. So we would hang out. at the end of the workday, and we were all staying at this hotel, and I'd sit out in the back patio and bring the guitar and say, "Okay, guys, what do you think about this?" And I just go through some of the chords, and it was wonderful because I got immediate feedback, and sometimes people would even sing along with me, which would help me sort of round out what the harmonies might look like, or maybe if I needed to alter the like the chorus is a little bit or a pre-chorus. So that was one has always sort of fed the other. It never really felt like one was a detriment to the other, unless it was just delaying getting into an actual recording studio. And Ghost in My Head was recorded in Austin, Texas, with three, soon to become really good friends of mine. And I still record with them. And I just played with the lead guitarist actually at my City Vineyard series here. I did a residency in New York City, and Robbie Girso, the lead guitarist, came out and did a couple shows for that. It was just so good to see him.
Hmm.
But
Yeah.
I try to mix it up.
Yeah, for sure. And then your second album was called I Do, which came out in
Mhm.
2015. And it was funny, going back to what we were talking about earlier, I noticed that there was a song on that album called Edmonton. So
Yes.
was that, and I watched a live performance of that. And so it was really, that's a track sort of about your family story. Is that correct?
100%. Yeah,
Hmm.
that track. In fact, it was for the residency. The residency is basically going to be a one-woman show. The residency is sort of a workshop or workshopping of what will be the one-woman show. So it's sort of a chronology of my life through the narration of song. And Edmonton is usually the first song I start with because it's where my grandmother's from and where I was born. And it's ironic that I never really lived there, and yet it's really influenced my life so much. From and then going back, actually, I played at the Edmonton Folk Festival with, when I was promoting the first album, Ghost in My Head, and then was invited to sing at the Canadian Country Music Awards at the Gretzky Arena, which was such a huge high. In fact, I had Jim Cuddy from Blue Rodeo was sitting right in front of me for sound check when I went, to play my song "Slow Down," and it was the coolest moment was when I finished my song. Jim Cuddy stood up and applauded me, and he said, "Yeah, at least somebody's finally playing the freaking protest song, man." And I'm like, "Yeah, Jim Cuddy thinks I'm playing a protest song. This is so cool." So yeah, good memories of Edmonton all around. But yeah, Edmonton figures heavily because my grandmother was an incredibly powerful, kind of tortured soul and full of contradictions.
Hmm.
And I knew I needed to write about her, especially since I knew I was going to play at Edmonton Folk. So I wrote that, I think, literally 3 weeks before I went to the Edmonton Folk Festival.
Nice. Nice. Yeah, and I can really get this like the sense that you're not afraid to dig deep with your songwriting. So like what is sort of your songwriting process like?
Good question. Wow. Well, a lot of my writing is basically, personal therapy. It's literally, and that's why the first album is actually called Ghosts in My Head. It's trying to get or exercise these demons that literally haunt me that I can't get out of my head. And in order to do that, I just started writing. And I didn't necessarily know the writing would become songs, to be honest. And the first one, Ghost in My Head, was about a very traumatic experience. I didn't know who to talk to about it. I didn't know how to get it out, and I literally just started writing. I don't even play piano, but I would sit at a piano and pick out notes, and then started to write lines and verses. And that was the first song from the Ghost in My Head album, the title track, and then it just snowballed after that.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
I guess that's why I dig deep, is I kind of have no choice. I wish I
Yeah.
could write something light and fluffy, that would be great.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm trying though. I'm trying. The next one will be lighter. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, it's good. It's good to go all over the place. I find with
Yeah,
music. Yeah.
I agree.
And so you just mentioned it there, but you recently had a residency of shows in New York.
Hmm.
And yeah, I'd love to talk a bit more about that, like what it was like to sort of develop that show and what it's leading to in the future.
Wow. I appreciate the question too, because it was really terrifying in a way, and exciting as hell, because I was given this residency and thrilled to do so. And then I booked this acting job on 1874 on Hope Valley. So what terrified me was how am I going to juggle flying to Vancouver and doing, 5 to 10 pages of dialogue a day, flying back every 10 days to do this residency where I'm basically going on stage. I'm telling stories, sometimes very dark stories from my childhood, my past, preceding each song to sort of give an intro or a context to the audience of what these songs are really about. Um, and then there's just the performance and instrumentation and what musicians are going to be available. Should I just do it by myself? Uh, the second half of the show, the residency is cover songs of artists who inspired me and whose work I covered when I was literally playing guitar in the subways and on the streets of Toronto and New York City. So it was a lot to psychologically and emotionally juggle. And then there's that other aspect of, my own fear of how can I stand on a stage and just talk to a room of like 120 people and say, okay, yeah, so this is what happened with my mom and my dad when we were in Calgary. And yeah, and he was kind of drinking a lot back then and he didn't come home that night. And but I'm like, are people going to listen to this? Or are they going to want to sit and drink wine and just hang out? And what was so freeing and so joyous was standing there with this whole audience and just saying, I'm just going to give it up and speak to everybody, um, like they're my best friends. And there were a lot of actually best friends in the audience too. Uh, but it really made me realize it's okay. Everybody has a story. Every single person has tons of stories, and we should all share them. And it's all good. And so the more I did it, the more kept coming out. The more I was able to focus on, what's most resonant, what's going to work. So it was really an incredible experience, and then to go back and work on a show that actually I was really enjoying, and this cast is really joyous. He would help me with the show too. They would always ask me, so, "How was the show? How was the residency? How did the songs go over? How was the story about Edmonton? Did it resonate with the audience?" And they couldn't have been nicer. The producers of Hope Valley 1874 couldn't have been nicer. They always made sure I would get out to come back to do this music gig. And it's very hard when you can get those two worlds to work together. So I was really, really fortunate. So this whole process of creating this one woman show has become much more solid at this point.
Hmm.
And they've given me two more shows at the City Vineyard too. Gosh, May 1st and May 29th. So now I can go back and put up two more shows in a slightly more put together kind of form, and we'll see where it goes from there.
Yeah, for sure. And looking ahead to like what's going on with the music, especially like, do you, I guess,
Mhm.
have plans to a two-part question here? Do you have plans to like take this one woman show like to more places, or
Mhm.
and then also do you have plans for new music as well?
Yes, both. Yes to both questions. I'll go with the latter. There are some new songs I have not recorded yet, and I really do want to get in the studio. In fact, the last gig I did, I played with John Cusimano, who's a great musician, singer. He's got his own band. He plays here in New York City, and he played keyboards. In fact, on Instagram, you'll see he played "Meeting Across the River" on my Instagram page, which was so much fun to play. And he does this beautiful sort of Rachmaninoff vibe kind of piano line on it. But I might be recording with him this summer. So we'll see what happens there, and if I can get the lead guitarist I work with, that would be great. Because these new songs need to be put down. And now that I've workshopped them a little bit in these residency shows, it's always good to hear them out loud and play them with a band to sort of feel it out, realize what works, what doesn't quite work, and then go into the studio to lay it down. So hopefully this summer we'll record some of the new songs.
Hmm. Yeah, awesome. All right. Jill, well, we are now entering into the guessing segment of this podcast.
Oh no, no!
So,
Forgive me. I'll just, a preemptive strike here. Sorry.
uh,
I'll do my best, man. I'll
well,
do my best.
I think you'll do good. And I'll explain the rules for you and any new listeners we may have. So, in this bag here is a record from my collection. I am going to give you 3 clues about this album, and then we play a game of 20 questions to try and figure out what the album is. So, Jill Hennessy, are you ready to guess that record?
I certainly hope I am. Yes, I am. Okay.
All right, here are your 3 clues. This album came out in the 1980s. It is a double album, and it was this artist's first #1 album. Question 1.
Wow, a double album to be a #1 album in the 80s. It's not Bruce Springsteen, is it?
It is Bruce Springsteen.
No. Are you kidding me? I actually got that? You've got to be kidding me. Wow. Okay.
And the album in question,
is it the live album?
it's not that one. Question 2.
Okay. But it's a double.
It is a studio album.
Oh, it's a studio album. Wow. I didn't know. Gee, I'm trying to think of. I'm mainly familiar with the live double albums that like the
big box
covers.
set.
Yeah, the box set thing. I think there's four discs in that one, right?
Yeah.
What's the double album? It's not. And it's 80s. So we're after Nebraska, right?
Before Nebraska.
Before Nebraska. Oh, but it's 80s. Jeez. And it's not the live album.
No.
Gosh darn it, man.
It came out in 1980. I will give you that.
Okay.
And I believe you have performed a song from this record as well.
Is it Born to Run?
It's not Born to Run.
No, not Born to Run. And it's before Born in the USA.
Correct. Question 3.
Oh my gosh. Greetings from Asbury Park? No.
No, that was his first record.
That was way before.
Question 4.
I'm trying to go back. The River?
It is The River.
Oh! Oh my gosh. Thank you for your gentle nudging. I appreciate that. Wow, The River. I'm so sorry. I was so slow on that.
No, it's all good. It's all good. I mean, once you got Bruce, it was pretty easy to narrow down. But what can you tell the listeners about The River?
Oh man. It's my real introduction to Springsteen was actually the live album version of the title track, which is The River. Because I didn't really know Springsteen. It was when I was living in Toronto. And I guess it was 87? Not even sure. But my roommate in the beaches in Toronto would always get mad at me and say, Hennessy, why don't you listen to Springsteen? He's a poet. He's one of the greatest poets of our time. You got to listen to him. And I said, well, I don't really know him. He sings that Born in the USA song, right? He said, Hennessy, he's so much more than Born in the USA, even though that's a great song, but you got to listen. So he made me listen to The River. And the live track, or the live album track, he goes into a monologue before the song where he talks about his relationship with his father and his father wanting him to sign up for the army, and him getting in a motorcycle accident and ending up in the hospital. And while he was unconscious, his father went in and cut all his hair off, and then him actually going to sign up for the army and then not being accepted, and him finally telling his dad, hey, Dad, I went in to sign up for the army. And his dad said, well, what happened? And he says, oh, they didn't take me. And the final words of his monologue are his dad saying, that's good. And I lost it. I was a river of tears, pun intended. And so that's what got me into the album The River. And what's interesting about the album The River too is that he really combines, he's got the anthemic poetry and pain and hope and desperation and dreams lost all represented in the song The River. But then some of the other tracks, he incorporates a little bit of that 50s rock and roll, jangly kind of rock, incredible energy. It's just such a great album all around, and it touches so many different musical uh, how can I arenas so beautifully. I'm so glad you chose that one too because I, well the river has always been one of my favorite songs, but that album all round is just such a great album.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my
Yeah.
God, I'm glad you chose that. That's very cool.
Yeah, absolutely. It's of course like I mentioned in the clues, it's a double album, and so yeah, it really it's got everything on it. It's got, like
Hmm.
fun tracks like Sherry Darling and Out in the Street, Hungry Heart, of
Yeah,
course.
yeah,
And then, really powerful stuff like Point Blank and Drive All Night.
mm, yeah.
Um, and it's also really interesting when you learn about the story of its creation because I actually
Mm.
have the a couple of years ago Bruce put out a kind of box set collection of outtakes from the river,
Oh,
which
really?
I also
Wow.
have, and it's
Okay.
interesting because the river was supposed to be a single album called The Ties That Bind, and it had, I think it only had like
Wow.
8 songs on it. Some of them did end up on the river, but it had a lot of like stuff that just did not, like, you wouldn't expect to be
Hmm.
on the record. And then
Okay.
he submitted it to be released, and then he pulled it at the last minute, and went back into the
Wow.
studio for like another year to get it to where it eventually
Hmm.
became the river. So yeah, it had a very complicated recording process, which is
Wow.
interesting because it turned out great in the end.
Hmm. Yeah.
And I understand that you recently got to share the stage with Bruce as well. Is that correct?
Yeah, I've been involved with this charity that Bruce is one of the founders of called Light of Day Foundation. And they basically fund research for neurodegenerative diseases. And one of Bruce's friends is afflicted with ALS. So I got involved about 10 years ago. And so they have these big performances throughout New Jersey. And I would typically, once a year, I'd go to do some performances in Montclair, New Jersey. And then we go to the Count Basie Theater in Red Bank. And this year we're at Red Bank. I just flown in for my residency and from Vancouver, from shooting Hope Valley, did my residency. And the very next night, they were doing the Count Basie show. And the rumors were going around that Bruce was going to show up. But you're never sure, right? So we go, and I was going to play one of my songs, Aaron, about a really good friend of mine from when I was 18 years old in Toronto, who was a dancer at a strip club called the Brass Rail. That's a long story as well. But I did Aaron, and then I did No Surrender, which is one of my favorite songs to cover. And then I left the stage, and the next act was Willie Nile. It was an incredible New York rocker guy. He's absolutely phenomenal. He's sang a couple songs with Bruce in the past. So he goes out. He's doing a song called One Guitar. Suddenly, I'm in the wings, just dancing and singing to Willie, and some guy passes behind me. I turn around. It's Bruce. Bruce walks to the middle of the stage, puts on his guitar, starts playing One Guitar with Willie. They're screaming out the lyrics. He's doing solos. I look behind me to the producer of the show, Tony Palagrassi, and I say, Tony, there's an empty mic right here. It's about 10 feet from me. Should I go out? Am I going to piss anybody off? Is this okay? And he said, Jill, you get your ass on the stage and you sing. I know you know the song. I went out, grabbed the mic, and I'm just singing for dear life, doing all the backup harmonies and screaming out the chorus, having the best time. And I was like 2 people away from Bruce, and it was just such a high. So that was a very good night.
Yeah,
That was yeah.
yeah, for sure. And do you have? Because I think I was reading that he like approved of your music one time or something like that. Is that correct?
Yeah. Yes. When I first put out Ghost in My Head, it caught the attention of Dave Marsh, who used to write for Rolling Stone magazine. And I think the cello player I work with, Brian Standifer, who's a tremendous musician, knew Dave, and I think he sent him my CD. And then he invited me in studio, and we to play and talk about the album. And he was throwing a charity event for his daughter. And I should also mention too, I was friends with Max Weinberg, the drummer for the East Street Band, and we went to visit him backstage after a Bruce Springsteen concert, and I had brought my CDs, and somehow Patty Scalfa knew me, I guess, from Law and Order, and so she invited me backstage, and she knew I knew Max, so we start hanging out. I give her my CD. I guess she must have given it to Bruce because then later, when we went to Dave Marsh's charity event, I was standing there with my husband and my mother-in-law, and Bruce Springsteen was passing by, and the security people were sort of asking people to move out of the way. So I was moving away. I didn't realize Bruce was coming right towards me, and I'm thinking, what's going on here? He approached me and he said, "Hey, Jill, I listened to your music. Very nice." And then he walked away. And I'm shaking.
Yeah.
I'm like, what just happened? Bruce listened to my album? Did he really listen to my this is inc So I was dazed and confused and in a euphoric state. That was just such a joy. I was so moved by his generosity and by Patty's generosity and kindness.
Yeah. Yeah,
Um,
that's
yeah.
amazing, and better than I've done, because yeah, I haven't had the chance to meet him yet, but I've interviewed two E Street Band members on this podcast before.
Wow.
We had Ozzy Melendez, who plays trombone, and
Wow. Okay.
Barry Danielian, who plays trumpet. And the cool thing about the interview with Barry was that that was actually done in Calgary when Bruce was here 2 years ago to
Okay.
perform. So we got to
Nice.
interview Barry before the show, which was really cool. So that's the closest I've gotten. But yeah, that's
Oh, that's great. They're one of the best bands in the world. The East, I
mhm.
mean, yeah, the horn section, my God, and everybody is so tremendous on that. I like, oh my God, Gary
Yeah.
Talent, and I've met Gary a few times too because he's very close with Max, and but I wish I could meet every band member.
Hmm.
I've we'll get there. We'll make our way through the East Street Band,
Yeah.
Jackson. I know we will.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. It is I do think, like, I mean, maybe to wrap it up here, the like live seeing Bruce live is definitely like, the best way to experience him. And it's funny because I've seen him now twice, but only on this recent tour. And
Mm.
still both times it's like this guy's a machine. Like,
Oh
even in
yeah.
his
Yeah.
70s, he's still a machine. Do you have
Yeah.
any memorable performances of his that you enjoyed?
So, boy, well, obviously, every performance is incredibly enjoyable, and it is shocking how long he stays on stage. And I'll just give you the last performance I saw, which was at San Siro Stadium, Milano, when his
Right.
last show of the last tour, right? So, and it was almost 100 degrees. It was 98 degrees, I think, and even at night, it was very warm. And San Siro is a big soccer stadium. It's open air, so there's no roof. And we're in the stands all sweating it out, and it is packed. And the Italian fans go deep. It is like a deeply religious experience. We were all crying at times. And there was an Italian flag on the stage, an American flag on the stage. It was so incredibly powerful and meaningful. And we're all sweating it out. Bruce is on stage. The entire E Street Band is always dressed to the nines. So Bruce is in a button-up shirt, black vest, and he is running around the stage. He's belting out every lyric. You got Max Weinberg on the drums, who was working, he's running a marathon every night, sweating. Again, he too, beautiful vest, button up shirt, not a hair out of place. And they went on. I was thinking, there's no way they're going to play past 2.5 hours. It's too hot. It's late at night. I think they did almost 4 hours that night.
Yeah.
It was phenomenal. And the audience was singing every word. And I'm looking around, again, we're in Italy. I met a lot of Canadians there too. There were tons of Canadian fans, American fans. Um, but it really was such a, I guess, a moving, ethereal experience because it touches something beyond words, beyond intellectualizing the moment, where you're united with all these people from all over the world and you're all moved to tears at moments and at the same time. And there's such a synchronicity. So that was an incredible experience.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah. All right, Jill. Well, we have reached the end of the interview. I want to thank you so much for taking the time to appear on the show. It was great to talk with you. And where can the listeners check out all your music and your shows and what you got on the go?
Wow. Well, I've got both my albums, I Do and Ghost in My Head on Spotify. And I've got two more shows at the City Vineyard here in New York City. So May 1st and May 29th. Hopefully you'll be seeing more shows once I get this up and running as a one-woman show. And we'll see. I'll be letting you know. And hopefully I'll see you at some point in Calgary in
Yeah.
person. That would be great. Not too far from where we're filming Hope Valley, because I think we're going back to work. I'm hoping, there are rumors we might be back in December or January. So, other than that, I would hope maybe I can get an acting gig in Calgary and come see you out there.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Guess That Record. Make sure to leave a 5-star review wherever you listen and tell your friends to check us out. I want to shout out our radio partners currently airing Guess That Record as a syndicated show. CKMS in Kitchener, Ontario, CKXU in Lethbridge, Alberta, and South Devon Sound in Kingsbridge, UK. So if you're in those markets, be sure to check those stations out to hear the show. If you're with a radio station and you'd be interested in adding Guess That Record to your programming, send us an email to guessthatrecordpodcast@gmail.com. We'd also appreciate it if you follow us on Instagram and TikTok, where our username on both platforms is @GuessThatRecord. And lastly, subscribe to our YouTube channel to see the video versions of these amazing interviews. Remember to keep rocking, and we'll see you on the next episode of Guess That Record.